One purpose of this conference is to highlight successful eco-feminist activism. I'm involved in an activist project that embodies for me several features of eco-feminist theory as I've been reading about it and modestly contributing to it as a theorist for the past 7 years or so. And I want to share my activist project with you in order to kick off the activist portion of this conference. And because I'm very proud of this project and I want to show off. I'm going to begin by talking about the facts of the project, and then I'm going to show you a few slides, some pretty pictures, and then I'm going to talk briefly about how I see the project as an eco-feminist one. So to begin with the facts, the project that I'm involved in is called PEACE, the Program in Ecological Agriculture and Society. I co-founded this university program along with Josh Slotnick, who is a local organic farmer and who is now the program's primary field instructor and farm manager. Students in PEACE can earn up to 12 credits working on a 4-acre organic vegetable farm on land owned by the university and by Missoula County, and by attending a lecture series that in the summer focuses on agricultural science, in the fall focuses on representations of agriculture in literature and the fine arts, and in the spring focuses on the social, economic, and moral issues in agriculture. The vast majority of our students' time is spent in the field under Josh's supervision, where they learn horticultural skills ranging from seed starting to composting to pruning to insect control, harvesting, cover crop, the whole gamut. In the process, they also learn various community building skills, including problem-solving skills, communication skills, consensus skills, as this group of 25 to 30 students shares and designates multiple responsibilities for the operation of a fair-sized organic farm. Currently, there are about a dozen programs similar to PEACE at other universities in the country, but PEACE is unique in the following 3 respects. First, we're the only cold climate program in the country, and that means that we're faced with and serve as a test site for solving the challenges of an unusually short growing season. We're just now into the greenhouse, for example. 2, we're the only program in which students work side by side with various populations from the greater community. These populations include Hmong and Russian immigrants, retirees, nonviolent offenders performing court-ordered community service, the mentally ill, group home youngsters, and in particular state aid recipients. And 3, and we're quite proud of the following. Montana is an economically depressed state. In Missoula, which is a relatively affluent Montana community, 1 in 5 people live at or below the poverty level. 11% of adults in our community worry that their households will run out of food each month. And only 22% of our county residents eat a high-quality diet of 5 servings of fresh food a day. And our project addresses very self-consciously and directly these issues. That is, over 50% of our harvest goes directly to low-income Missoulians, primarily through the food bank. And we're talking here about a significant amount of food. During our first year of operation, which was last year, during our peak month, which is August, we sent over 600 pounds of produce to the food bank each week. And every leaf and potato, I'm proud to say, was claimed and consumed. And production's going up. We're doubling the acreage this year. And the soils will be better this year, so we're going to be producing quite a bit more food this year that we'll send out to the food bank. PEACE, the university program, operates in conjunction with the Garden City Harvest Project, a collaborative of 24 community organizations, which include the County Health Department, the WIC program, the Food Bank, the Mormon Bishop Cannery, and many others. Among other things, the Garden City harvest workers see to it that the food Peas grows gets into the hands of those who have the least access to fresh organic produce, into the hands of low-income Missoulians, the majority of whom are women and their kids. The Garden City Harvest Project also sponsors a countywide gleaning program. That is, we send volunteers into private gardens to glean produce that private gardeners can't use and want to donate to our project. So we have too many tomatoes. I can't imagine that I have too many tomatoes. Would your project like to have them? Would the cannery like to have them? And we go in and snag them. They also sponsor a grow a row program, which encourages private gardeners to grow a row of anything edible for the food bank. And the Garden City Harvest Project also coordinates 3 community gardens in low-income Missoula neighborhoods. The residents of those neighborhoods run those gardens, and they eat most of the food that comes out of those gardens, and they also donate a 1/5 of what they grow in each of those gardens to the food bank. The project also oversees the rattlesnake garden, which is just a little direction with that name. I know I've been here 7 weeks, I still don't know. Yeah, it's kind of that way. And the residents of the rattlesnake grow produce in that garden, and all of that produce goes to the food bank. A mere 25 years ago, 90% rather of the valley's food was grown right here in Missoula, and we were once referred to as the Garden City. Now, 90% of our food is shipped in from out of state at great cost to the environment, and ultimately it's great cost to the poor. Peas and Garden City Harvest hope to change that. We hope once again to make the valley more produce self-sufficient. We're getting somewhere with it. Our programs are just beginning their 2nd year. We're operating on a $250,000 grant in community agriculture that we received from the USDA last year. We were one of 13 communities in the country to receive this grant out of a pool of 1,500 applicants. We also received generous support from the university, from our president and from our dean, support from local businesses, and from a large number of generous private citizens. And I want to thank you all if you're out there. We've had a phenomenally successful first year. Our Peas courses were highly over-requested. We could double enrollment. I keep telling the president this. We could double enrollment if we had more resources, more staff out at the farm. Garden City Harvest has received more offers of land and volunteer help than it can manage right now. The harvest was bountiful, thanks to the hard work of Josh and our truly exceptional students, and to the generosity of the land itself. So I'm going to show you some slides now of the garden primarily. Is a shot of the Missoula Valley from the south side of Mount Jumbo, which is the hill on the opposite side of the river, the opposite side of campus. And I think in the foreground, longtime Missoulians can correct me if I'm wrong, we're looking at the site of the old Hughes Garden, which was a 20-acre quickly. And that farm supplied supplied the valley with most of its produce, with apparently 90% of its produce, here 25 years ago. The farm was closed in the early 70s when the interstate went through. And as I said, Peas and Garden City Harvest is hoping to do what the Hughes Farm did 20 years ago. We're hoping to make the valley produce self-sufficient again, and soon. This is a seedling. It might be, I don't know if that's a pea or not. It's more like a green leafy green. Some of my students might be out there. There's some of these students out there who can give me technical assistance. I don't know, it's a seedling. Maybe it's a spinach or a kale, I'm not sure which. This is President George Dennison of the University of Montana busting sod at our groundbreaking ceremony, which took place at the farm at about this time last year. This is our cool greenhouse from the inside, and there's a student there working in the greenhouse. This greenhouse was built by volunteers from the Montana Conservation Corps. I'll show you their photographs later. And by P students. It's 1,400 square feet. It consists of, it's up to code. I promise it's up to code. It consists of steel posts that are sunk in concrete several feet in the ground according to code. Consists also of 2 layers of plastic that are separated from one another by a layer of air, and that keeps the plastic taut, and it keeps the plastic from tearing when there are winds. And you might notice the rather steep pitch on the greenhouse. This is so it can support heavy snowfall without collapsing. A couple of winters ago, that was a problem for a lot of growers when we had very, very heavy snow and greenhouses collapsed all over and up and down the valley. It won't happen. It won't happen to us. Shouldn't happen to us. This is seed, looks like seed starting, seed culling, or start culling. And these are some of our students. This is John Deere and Steve Elliott. Steve co-owns Lifeline Farms, an organic farm down in the Bitterroot Valley. Last year, Steve generously volunteered his time and a tractor to turn the soil for us. This is some homegrown compost from the Lifeline Dairy, also down in the Bitterroot. We applied several tons of this juicy stuff to our beds last year as we created beds. This is a student raking every last clod of compost out of the truck bed. Oh, actually, that's Bronwyn. This is Josh's assistant of last year, not a student. This is a student spreading compost to create a bed. This is a student remodeling a barn near the garden that we use for storage, meetings, and lunches in the summer. About to get kicked out of, actually. Students in Peas learn not only horticultural skills, but carpentry skills, some small engine repair. They operate some farm equipment, and they learn to set up and take down irrigation pipe, among other things. This is more seed starting. These are putting some starts in the ground. This is watering the starts to seal them in. Here are some of our beds. This is a 2-acre site we're looking at. We're doubling the site this year, as I said before. Oh, there's the osprey nest way back. The deer fence is up, as you see. And the beds are made, over 100 of them are in this 2-acre site. And remade, which is an insulator, is over the starts. This is probably over some greens and peas, I guess. This is early May of last year. This is the peas trellis. This is early May. And here come the peas. This is our mascot crop. This is something of an early harvest, but you see the peas are growing up that trellis. So the storm's coming in. This is early June. Oh, here are peas. Here, you see the pea pods, they made it. This is mid-season July, and you're looking at, I don't know what all that stuff is, I can't recognize it, slides, but among other things, you see some flowers that we planted to attract beneficial insects. This is an aerial shot of the farm in August, our peak month. This is 2 acres. This is late summer, and we're beginning to plant, and you can see it on the far right, a cover crop in some of the beds. We planted, and I think that's what you're looking at on the right, next to the chart maybe, buckwheat. The buckwheat will get so high, I have a shot of it in a later slide, and then in early fall we turn it in, and the organic matter improves the organic composition of the soil, which was pretty poor at the beginning of the season. I see a soil scientist, or a plant scientist out there, Kathy Zabinski. She's on our board, she can help me if I make mistakes. And after we've turned the buckwheat in, we planted oats and rye, and the oats and rye will stay in for the duration of the summer. They'll die, but they'll prevent, having that crop in over the winter rather, will prevent erosion, keep moisture in, and we'll turn that in the spring. It's being turned in now, in fact, the oats and rye, and that too will improve the organic composition of the soils out there. Oh, there's Josh in the red shirt. Oh, there's me behind Josh. In the blue shirt. No. Oh, and there's the president. Glasses on the left. And who else? That's Terry. He runs co-op ed. And there's our dean. There's our dean in the hat on the far right. Some the other people are. This is the garden, and this is a little storage shed that the students built at the beginning of the season. These are our pumpkins. We grew several hundred of them, and most of them went to the food bank and to the county fund house at Halloween. This is our modest, so far, composting operation, I believe. We're composting currently organic materials from the garden and from lunches. This is the buckwheat, the first cover crop we put in. This must be later in the season. You can see some of the greens starting to bolt on the right. And there's the osprey. Are any of the P students here? Carrot students here? Are the osprey back here? Actually, you're back there. This is a harvest. As I said, most of our harvest goes directly to the food bank as fresh produce, or it finds its way to the Mormon Bishop cannery. They can it and send it to the food bank to distribute over the winter. was a good harvest, smart harvest. Potatoes and carrots, cucumbers. Let me go back a minute. Most of our harvest, as I said, goes directly to low-income folks, but we also sell what we call shares to families in Missoula who essentially come by the garden twice a week and pick up a variety of vegetables that are in season that week. And we sell low-income shares at a low cost to low-income families, and then higher-income shares to more affluent families. And what money we're able to make selling shares goes into to pay for our operating costs. Looks like Bill. These are our peas again. They're about 6-7 foot there, Leighton. These are some students and some volunteers. Karen in the foreground. Next to one of the bags. This is a FAME worker working in the greenhouse. FAME is an acronym for Families Achieving Independence in Montana. She's a state aid recipient who is now required to perform some community service for her benefits in exchange for her benefits. We've been designated as a work site, and in addition to receiving her benefits, she takes food home with her at the end of the day, and she's learning, we hope, some marketable horticultural skills, and we're hoping to have even more FAME workers working alongside our students and other community members this summer. This is Josh again in the white t-shirt with Bill and some youth at risk from one of the group homes. These are members of the Montana Conservation Corps. As I said earlier, they did a tremendous amount of work with us last year as we were getting the infrastructure in place, greenhouse, fencing. This is Bill on the right and Joel on the left. Bill is now interning with Lifeline Dairy down in the Bitterroot, and I think plans to make a career out of dairy farming, organic dairy farming. Joel and another of our students started farms of their own this year. 3 of our other students are interning with organic farms elsewhere in the country and have decided to make a career out of organic farming. Another of our graduates is going into the Peace Corps this year. And Diana over here, in the checkered blouse, is this year a Truman Scholarship national finalist, who, as a result of her peace experience, wants to work around international issues in agriculture. And I think we did pretty well on our first graduating class. Oh, these are some of our students at the market. One is wearing a head of lettuce, I see. Right. We are growing some cash crops, and as I said, we grow some crops. We'll sell some produce in the as shares. And we also sold some produce last year to the public schools for their lunch programs. And we're looking into the possibility of growing more cash crops beginning this year. We're particularly interested in growing some echinacea for market. We're growing cash crops, again, I want to say, in order to cover our operating expenses. We're a nonprofit. We're not looking to make a profit out of the crops that we're selling. And we do not and will not compete in any way with local organic farmers who market in the area. To that. This is a backward shot of the Northside Community Garden. This is the garden that is in one of the low-income neighborhoods here in Missoula that the Garden City Harvest Project and the MUD Project, the Missoula Urban Development Project, runs. This is another shot of the Northside Garden. This is wheelchair gardening at the North Side Garden. This is a mom and her kids at the River Road garden site. This is another Garden City Harvest site located in a low-income neighborhood. This is an elder and a young person at the River Road. Oh, that looks like the North Side site. Maybe it's the North Side site. I think a good example of this particular shot of the community building that's happening within these neighborhoods as community residents leave their homes, gather, meet one another, and work side by side in these community gardens as well as out east side. This is one of our students of last year. She's a waterer. Two students were assigned watering chores for a week's period. Throughout the summer, they rotated, and it's a hard job, a messy job, and she's doing a good job there. Watering those sunflowers. That's my last shot. Flower. Three things about how I see this project as an ecofeminist one. Number one, I think the single most obvious way in which Peas and Garden City Harvest are ecofeminist projects is in our two-pronged focus. Our environmental focus and our social justice focus, and I'll say a bit about each of these. A bit about our environmental focus. We are committed to an organic operation, and that means two things. It means we're sensitive to the biological integrity of the soils, plants, insects, and other organisms that constitute the garden biotic community. And it means we want to work in partnership with that biotic community. And we wish to work in partnership with that community for practical reasons, that is, we want to grow healthy food in a sustainable way, and for moral reasons. We respect the natural integrity of that biotic community that we're in partnership with. So to cite a very famous essay that those of you read in ecofeminist literature will recognize, the project is anti-naturist. Essays by Karen Warren. I think I recognize her out there. A bit about the social justice focus of our project. We're committed to growing food for and with underserved communities. That is, for and with low-income communities, migrant communities, for and with women and children on various forms of state assistance. So the program is acting against sexism, racism, classism, among other things. And I want to say that we are hyper aware of the overlap between the two prongs of our mission. We're hyper aware of the overlap between the environmental and the social justice issues in agriculture, and we emphasize this overlap in our lecture series and in the field. The second thing I want to say about how it is this project is ecofeminist is the following. And I'm drawing from Karen Warren's famous essay once again. The project is inclusivist and is community oriented. In so much as diverse populations work side by side on the farm, making decisions about operations, sharing skills and recipes, sharing life stories and values as they pick beans and build compost piles and spend evenings watering together and shovel poop. And in the summer as they make and take meals together. These populations are honoring and acknowledging differences as they work, and commonalities, as they work towards some shared environmental and social goals. And this experience is empowering for all involved in all sorts of ways. One of Josh's favorite stories is about how early last semester in our first class, students, a group of women students were looking rather fearfully at some hand saws, but within a half an hour, Josh and Bronwyn had them using those saws, learning those carpentry skills and exploring the fascinating world of drill bits and other carpentry equipment. It's empowering for the kids from group homes, for example, who last year were, among other things, given significant responsibility for a potato harvest and followed through with it. It's empowering for the WIC moms who are learning how to prepare fresh green leafies for their families versus opening a can of inferior quality food at dinner time. And some of those WIC moms are also learning, we hope, marketable horticultural skills with us. The third thing and final thing I want to say about how it is these projects are eco-feminist is this. The social and environmental context at the farm promotes certain values that have been identified by some writers, Karen among them, as central to an eco-feminist ethic and as undervalued in more traditional ethical literature. These values include care, friendship, trust, and reciprocity. I hope it's clear from what I've said so far how these values are integral to the social operation of the farm. Care, friendship, trust, and reciprocity. Those of you who have practiced organic gardening at home know what it is to extend these values to the land as well as an organic gardener. You know what it is to give care to, that is a certain sort of studied, patient, and self-other balanced attention to, say, a tomato plant that you remember was once this little tiny seed in your greenhouse, and it's in March and is now this tall in August and is producing tomatoes this big. It's pretty damn big for Missoula.
Right before the freeze.
Right before the freeze, yeah. And they're ripe, too. Right before the freeze. Well, we're appreciative even of the green ones here in Missoula. What it is to give care to that tomato plant. You know what it is to consider a friend, the ladybug or the praying mantis, the beneficial insect that you find under the bean leaf, eating those bean larvae. We don't have bean beetles here, but in the southeast, I'd love to see those ladybugs eating those little larvae. You will appreciate how you might agonize over certain trust issues when the slugs get hold of your baby lettuce, or when the cutworms start to take down your baby and precious basil plants. You got to do something about it. And you might appreciate how good it feels to reciprocate by throwing a heavy load of compost on a bed, or to put in a cover crop in late September. So this is my eco-feminist baby, and I want to thank you all for letting me share it with you. Sometime I'm happy to answer questions about how you might start your own peace program on your campus or in your city. And I'm happy to take those of you who are interested on a farm tour sometime over the weekend. I have flyers up here on the Garden City Harvest Project and on the peace program, and thank you for your patient attention.
keep my love alive. Keep my love alive. Oh, baby, I want you to roll me, hold me in your love. No more habits, promises, and jive. Ever since I was a baby girl, wanted one